most. The show, it began in '85, am I right? Am I correct? Or '84? So it was, yeah, it was early in '84 when we first began production because it took time to actually draw the things. And the recording sessions for this show were really kind of remarkable. There were, the original cast, there weren't that many, I guess there were about 9 of us. Peter and Frank Welker, Neil Ross, John Stevenson, who I just saw the other day. John is doing very well, by the way. We're both with the same age. Fossil imprints of him in certain sections of Hollywood. So when we first started doing it, we were all sort of trying to find our way through it. And Wally was extraordinarily patient with us. However, Wally was also very demanding. Went on for sometimes 12 hours. And now we're talking about a 22-minute show after the commercial breaks and the intro and outro. So for a 22-minute show, we were in there for like 12 hours. Now guys like me who were working up in here, you know, hey, come on, get the Decepticons, let's go! Wasn't that big of a problem, but for people like Peter, I actually saw blood come out at one point. They worked him like crazy, and also, and Frank, I don't even know how he does that. It's got something to do with, I don't even want to go into it. At any rate, we all sort of found our way early on, and then as they added more characters, they realized that the first original cast members could not do all of the characters, so they started to cast more people. By the end of the first year, the recording booth was literally jammed with bodies. There were probably 15 or 20 of us in there sharing microphones, and it was insane because, as you know, this is all battle scenes and running and rolling and jumping and hiding. So you'd be like this. Here's how there'd be 3 people. You know how they do in airports where they stack up the airplanes? That's how it was. There'd be like Arthur Burkhart would be here, and then here would be like Neil Ross would be there, and then I'd be here because my line was first, and I'd say, "Come on, guys, let's roll for it!" And then you duck out of the way really fast, and then Arthur would come and go, "Yeah, let's go!" And then you know, somebody would go, "Yeah, come on, let's go really fast!" It was crazy. So finally, Wally worked out a system. He had an intercom installed. And the people that didn't have like immediate scenes were in the waiting room, and they would sit in the waiting room, and you would hear. It was really silly. You would hear.
Dan Gilvezan, his scene is coming out in about 5 minutes. Please enter the booth.
And it was like, who the hell is that? Wow. So that we would shuttle in back and forth into the studio just so we had more room in there, which was really strange. I don't know what more I can tell you about stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff I can tell you. I'm going to open it up to questions soon. I guess, you know what, before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about how I got into this mess. In 1979 or 80, I was called to audition for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It enjoys a warm spot in my heart as well. Now, I was a big Spider-Man fan as a kid. I still am, for that matter. I had the comic books and everything. In fact, I had a Spider-Man poster on my wall. Now, everybody in town was out for this role, for these roles. This was Marvel's first time to come out and do their own animated series. Before that, they had licensed it out to other companies. But this was the first time that Stan Lee and a lot of the creative gang had come out west and created Marvel Productions. This was their first production, so everybody was like, this was big stuff. Now, I'd never done an animated show before. I'd been an actor a professional actor for something like 10 years at that point. So I knew how to act, but there's a certain technique to this which is different from, you know, body acting. Face acting, as the voice actors disparagingly refer to it. Oh, are you a face actor? I make more money than you and it's just my voice. Shut up. I'm prettier than you are. Have you ever noticed the voiceover people are just piss ugly, most of them? Okay. Huh? Okay. Oh, geez, Peter's going to be here later. Anyway, don't tell him, will you? But you know, actually, Peter sounds like he's about 3 feet high. Weirdly enough, he's got this black hair and mustache. Peter, stop it. You're pressing against my vital organs. At any rate, where was I? Oh, Pasadena. Everybody in the world was out for these 3 roles, and it was Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar. Now, it was supposed to be the Human Torch, but they were afraid that kids would see this flaming human being and set themselves on fire. And it was like, you know, lawsuit city. So they created Firestar, who was, of course, the beautiful, red-headed, voluptuous contemporary of Spider-Man and Iceman. So anyway, they started the auditions, and everybody in town is up for this thing. And I was with a small voiceover agency at the time called the Tischerman Agency. And I went to the audition along with, I mean, they had the janitors going in to read for this stuff, you know? Can you speak? Okay. I said, can you speak? Okay. Can you say, Spider friends, go for it? Spider friends, go for it! Come on in, we'll read you. Anybody can do this, it's simple. Anyway, I went to a callback, and then a second callback, and then, believe it or not, a third callback. And at the third callback, we were in the actual studio where we were going to record, and on one side of me was Frank Welker. On the other side was Kathy Garber, who you probably know from Family Affair, a sissy from Family Affair. I did. And we 3 read together. The producer, Dennis Marks, came out and said, congratulations, this is our team. And I was like, wow. You know, I used to love Spider-Man, and today I are one. So I'm like floating off the ground. Plus, this was quite a coup for a career. Now, I hadn't done that much at that point, so it was really quite something to land a role of that magnitude. Frank, of course, was well known already, and Kathy had a career because of Family Affair, so it was really quite an honor to be cast in that. So my only fear was I knew nothing about how to do animated shows, and there is a different technique involved. You have to do more with your voice, obviously, because there's nothing else happening. So I thought, here's what I'll do. I'll stand next to Frank, and I'll do what Frank does. Frank was successful at it. If I just copy what Frank does, you know, as far as intensity, as far as, you know, just the technique, how close to the microphone, I didn't know any of that stuff, really. So about 2 weeks after this announcement was made, this is our team, I ran into a friend of mine, Sally Julian is her name, a lovely blonde woman, who said, oh, sorry about that Spider-Man thing. And I went, huh? She said, yeah, we just did the first session last week. And I was like, welcome to Hollywood. The network. So, but then he took a philosophical approach to it. He thought, after he thought about it for a few seconds, he said, and then it was all okay. I pass that along to you for any of you who are in frustrating situations.